I want to preface this video by saying, I know they asked for it, but I want you to think about it. They didn't ask for it. This was put upon them. They just never said anything and went along with it. Welcome to the Shakaama Live Show with your host, Shakaama. Let's talk about happiness. Are you happy? Here's what's really funny. There's this propaganda going around. It didn't just start. It's always been this way, where they want to always paint men as suffering the most. As when I say suffering the most, I mean in terms of women, in terms of being pathetic. Men do suffer the most, but nobody wants to hear that, right? Nobody wants to face that reality. So I'm going to talk about happiness, and the propaganda goes around saying men are lonely, men are unhappy, men are freaking out. No, that's not the word. Spazzing out? Whatever. I don't speak slang, so you'll excuse me. The reality is men are the most happy they have ever been in the entire history of the world, of humanity. You will never, ever hear that, ever, from anywhere. When they did the survey of happiness, men overwhelmingly said they were free from supporting a grown woman and all the kids. And let me go give even more context to that. Being the sole provider of supporting a grown woman who does not help financially to the contribution of the household. I want you to note that even with women working and making their own money, they are still having the dynamic where the man is the sole provider. This whole two-income family, two-income household is a lie. All of the man's salary goes to pay a majority of all of the bills. I'm an intelligent man. That's probably why I'm single, right? I would never be in a situation where I'm working and she's working, but I pay for everything. Till this day, even with women working, they keep all of their money, to the point where a lot of times men hand over their entire paycheck to the woman and then don't pay attention, and then stuff like this happens. The woman takes the paycheck and funds a private secret bank account. The family will suffer, and the man is wondering why they can't pay bills, and they have to turn off this bill and turn off this service and go without this thing and that thing. And then he gets a promotion and it all pans out and they turn back the services on and the lifestyle goes back up. Come to find out, come divorce time, because she's secreted away $50,000 of his money that did not go to pay for bills. And when asked why she did that, she says her mother, her single mother, told her to make a rainy day fund just in case. I'm sorry, it wasn't divorce time. It was he found out about the secret account because the bank said, here is a statement of your secret account. And he was like, I don't have a secret account, because he's the primary holder of all of the bank accounts. And since it comes from his paycheck, he is the holder of that secret account. He just didn't know it. So even today, although most men say they are happy that they don't have to be the sole provider of a grown woman and children, all of the children, they are more happy than ever before in the history of the world. Men's happiness shot up from the 1950s to 2020s. Shot up. Almost like a hockey stick. Isn't that what Al Gore said? Men's happiness shot up like a hockey stick. They do not have to do back-breaking work in order to provide for an ungrateful woman and ungrateful children. Because I'm here to tell you, at no point in history were the women and children in America, which is a modern country, ever grateful. The complaints came all the way from back in the 1800s. because it's the nature of the woman to complain. It's the nature of the woman to be unhappy even in marriage. The married woman is the most happy woman. The married woman with children is the most happy woman. But still, she complains the absolute most. They did do studies on that. Why are women divorcing men? Because women are unhappy. Why are women unhappy? It is made up problems on the woman's behalf. And they are not solvable problems. It's not you left the toilet seat up. It's not you have a habit of pushing the toothpaste in the middle of the tube. It's not that. It's made up problems that only the woman thought up, came up with, and made her unhappy. And I keep telling you all, the fact of the matter is she is not wife material. You should not have married her to begin with. You all need to start sharing my videos to people so they can hear that, because nobody is saying that. She is not a wife. The Bible says you find a wife. We have it backwards. We think we make a wife. What does the Bible mean by you find a wife? I may have only alluded to it in my writing on my channel, on my community page, or my post tab on my channel, youtube.com/Shakaama. Yes, my channel is that old that it comes directly after youtube.com. On my post, or maybe a video, I can't remember which one I did, I said, you find a wife. A wife is a woman who has been bred and trained from birth to be a wife. You don't go to some random chick and say, do you want to be my wife? You don't have the actual true concept of what a wife is. A wife is, first of all, is an important title, and it is an important occupation. They say anybody can have children, but only certain people can be a father, right? Well, the same thing goes the other opposite way. Anybody can have a child, but only certain people can be a mother. So you got to find a wife. And a good wife naturally is going to be a good mother. Why? Because she's been trained from birth to yearn to be a wife. I know that's going to fall on deaf ears for a lot of women, but I'm here to tell you there are women in this world who yearn as their burning desire, lifelong burning desire, to be a wife. If that's not you, I need you for the rest of your life to tell any man that comes into your presence, I do not yearn to be a wife. I do not have a burning desire to be a wife. Your life will be much better. When they did the survey of women for happiness, it dropped like a rock. While the biggest draw being having to work to support themselves. And I'm sad to say, because I love humans, and I say that not because I'm a vampire, not because I'm a creature, but because I grew up not only as an only child, but I grew up alone. My family had money, so they were able to send me off to whole other countries by myself. And because of my upbringing and training, right? There's a callback, right? I was able to travel by myself as a child overseas by myself and make all the arrangements by myself as a child for me to live. The funding was there. I mean, it's the least they could do, right? Nobody had to escort me. They didn't have to pay for a servant to escort me, but I was alone all my life. So even as an adult, and this still happened all the way up until I was like, 30, going places alone, foreign countries, foreign states, different states by myself. And what's funny is people don't understand. Why don't you know this stuff? I don't know common stuff. I can arrange a whole business for you, but not for myself. When I do strike, it's with the friggin' vorpal blade of bunny slaying, but I'm so not motivated because I grew up with money. The money really makes you not just lazy, but completely bored with life itself. I'm Roman Catholic. Don't worry about me. I am sad to say, because I love humans, that women unaliving themselves has skyrocketed. Here's a fun fact, or a terrible fact. Always women attempted unaliving themselves more than men. They don't want to ever tell you that. The problem is that since the 1950s, they have gone from attempts to being successful. Where before they took pills, tried to poison themselves, tried to sit in the car with gas or something, right? And it failed. They had something like a 90% failure rate. But now that has reversed, and now they have something like a 60% success rate because they started using the exact tools that men use. They are unhappy. If any man listening to this video and you feel sad or depressed or whatever, just search for my name online. I am Googleable. You can directly talk to me anywhere. I will be your friend. Why? Because I love humans. I do. And people say that they're sad. Are you sad you're alone? No, I've been alone all my life. I love myself, and I have always been happy all my life. Why would I not be happy? I lived like a prince. I lived in mansions. I had servants. I'm a little bit ticked off that I don't have money and I don't have servants and I'm not rich anymore and I have to do stuff to actually make money myself. And once in a while, a family member will say, here's a car. And that doesn't happen so much anymore, but it used to, right? So, and I'm often asked by family members to do certain favors for them, to do exactly like I was saying. I can organize a whole business for you. I can organize your entire office. When I say organize the entire office, I mean staff and tell who does what and make everything efficient all for you. And they always ask me to do stuff like that for free and give me nothing. But then once in a while, they'll be like, here's a car. I'm still waiting for them to say, here's a house. But I love humans. I love all humans. It is weird. Oh, you do know that I was supposed to be a Roman Catholic priest all of my life, and I backed out at the last second when I started investigating and researching stuff, but we won't get into that. I love all humans, and it angers me that the most that no one is talking about women unaliving themselves and how that has skyrocketed. They want to just target men. Men are the reason. Men are responsible. Men are to blame for women's complaints about this and that and the other. And a lot of times the complaints that you actually hear online are silly stuff, like literally. I went to his house and he had man stuff around his bathroom sink. Yeah, it's a man. And that's his house. And he has man stuff around the bathroom sink. I'm sure you've seen the married couples where the man has his sink and he has like a toothbrush and maybe some shaving cream. And then you look over to her side or her sink and it has 1,000 things around it, just completely cluttering up everything. So the complaints that you do hear are trivial, but there is also the stuff of women completely destroying a man with children. That is being reversed. Now, just so everybody knows, don't think that's going to last forever because it's not. It's already being reversed. They are not doing child support. Some places, not doing alimony, reversing alimony, no lifetime alimony. And that's slowly changing. Why? Because the marriage rate is in the dumps. They made money off of you getting divorced, but the whole premise was you got to get married at 50%, and then 30% of those people get a divorce. We make millions. Marriage has fallen something like 63%. So there is not a 50% marriage rate. It's more like a 20 to 30% marriage rate. And then when they start calculating the divorce stuff, it's the same people getting divorced over and over. It's not brand new people getting divorced. Marriage, once you actually do get married, for the most part, is pretty stable. I know that the news is going to tell you, 50, 60% and women with degrees, it's 90%. Yes, that does happen. But the overall actual rate is something like 20 or 30% divorce. It's just that through statistics, they get to say, divorce rate is 50%. No, you're just cooking the numbers. That's all you're doing. But the actual marriage rate itself is super low. So it doesn't matter. What can they do to stop women unaliving themselves? They would have to go back to the 1950s type of society where women are taken care of. Women sat at home. And after they invented washing machine, gas stoves, refrigerator, what else? Super duper vacuum cleaners. And then the Swiffer, right? Stuff where you could clean the entire house spotless in an hour. You wake up at 4 with a hubby, make him his breakfast and his lunch for the day. Washing machine, vacuum. You're done. You're done by 9 o'clock. I lived with my grandmother for some time, and that was it. She kept doing that, although my grandfather had passed away before I was not before, right when I was born. So I don't even remember him. She was done. So we sat around the house from like 9 o'clock on. She died at 100 years old. She had 17 children, 15 survived birth, and COVID took a lot of them. We cannot put that genie back in the bottle, but the happiness survey showed still that women who were wives, actual wives, and mothers were the happiest of all women. The most unhappy were the single, working, loose women. Loose meaning they are not attached to anybody. And when they talk about the male loneliness epidemic, they fail to tell you that if a male is lonely, meaning he is not with a woman, that also means a woman is lonely. We have the highest virginity rate in history of mankind. And I'm not talking about people just going out and doing stuff with anybody to lose it. I'm talking about women and men who have never spoken to in that sort of way, in any sort of intimate way. And we keep promoting the propaganda of women saying, don't talk to me, don't approach me, it's all your fault, you got to pay for everything. These are not wives. The Bible says, he who finds a wife finds favor with God. I quote the Bible only to give you some sort of context of how the world should actually be working. You got to find a wife. You don't make a wife. She's already got to be wife material when you meet her. She's got to be demure, feminine, and loving when you meet her. And when you meet her, you will know it instantly. Why? Because she will do something instantly, because that is her nature. I know a lot of black women said, we have to be rough and tough because you all made us this way. No. Your single mother made you that way. You have trauma in your life. You need to deal with that. Maybe heal from that. Unfortunately, you're cooked. I say you're cooked. I will not promote you to any man that I know, because I think a man should have peace and love and happiness in his life. So I'm not going to recommend any woman who's gone through therapy and healed. I'm sorry, I have a psychology degree. That's fine that you're healed. That means that you can live with yourself, but I think you should be alone for the rest of your life. I don't think you are a fit parent, a fit mother, or a fit partner for anybody, really. Let's be honest. Women are not happy. Nobody is talking about it. Nobody is doing anything about it. Why? Because the big corporations are fat and greedy, and women who are unhappy spin like a drunken sailor. What's the What's the saying? It's a good job if you can get it. So the fat, greedy corporations, I ain't mad at them, right? I should be fat and greedy, right? I'm not greedy. I'm sorry. I think of other people before myself. That's probably why I'm in the situation that I'm in. It's not even probably, there's no probably about it. I literally have people here telling me every day, you are too nice. You think of other people before yourself, and that's your problem. Isn't that awful? I know all of y'all say, well, I wish I was around Shakaama. He would probably do stuff for me for free and not think anything of it. I'm learning. I'm learning to say no. Fun fact though, I say no to women all the time. Why? Because I know it's dangerous to say yes to a woman because there's legal ramifications that I cannot handle. A woman can say stuff and Shakaama goes away forever. And why would she say stuff? Because she's evil. I know women are evil. And I know the propensity. My friend said about 13% of people are actually good in this world. So stop being nice to everybody. Stop trusting everybody. I said, that means like 1 in 10 people are nice. He said, yes, that's about right. That means 9 out of 10 people are not nice. And why do you say nice? I mean nice. Like me. Think of other people before themselves. That's also what a wife is. She thinks of others before herself. That's also what a good mother is. All of these women who say, blah, 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 the kids, y'all kids go sit down and blah, blah, blah. That's not a good mother. What do you mean I'm not a good mother? You're a horrible mother. You're traumatizing your kids and your kids are going to grow up to be traumatized. Especially the boys. Men are no good. Your boy is a man. So how can he grow up to hear men are no good and come out spotless? No, it's impossible. You're not a good mother. You have trauma. I would not wish you on anybody. Yes, there are bad men, but you want to hear the stats on that? It's something like 0.38%. They actually did the actual numbers. Oh, black people, blah, 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 blah. 0.38%. They did the numbers. Most people go to work, come home, and sleep. That's it. 0.38%. But the news wants to keep you afraid, angry, disgusted, maybe a little bit racist. But you know what? The same thing that happens over here and the news says it's black people, it happens in England, it's white people. Happens in Germany, it's white people. Happens in France, it's white people. Happens in Eastern Europe, it's white people. Happens in Russia, it's white people. I want to put everything into perspective. 0.38% of the population is bad, evil, criminal. They look at crime statistics per 100,000 people. So please stop it with all men do such and so. All women do such and so. All black people do such and so. No. There is a sector of black people that you never hear from because they can't have you scared, angry, and disgusted if you knew they existed. That is the actual black community. The Al Sharpton, the Jesse Jackson, they wouldn't have a career if you knew about the real black community. And they're happy and they're quiet. They're very, very quiet. I wish I could wave my magic wand and make women happy. But I know the solution is going back to the 1950s, and feminism has told women that you should never go back to the 1950s because it was so terrible. And then women are doing a little bit of research now and going, hold up. They told us that we have to cook and clean all day. There's a lady here on the channel. You can look her up. I don't have the name. And she kind of lives like she's in the 1950s. Her husband works from home and he's in like a separate office, that has a locked door. So he can claim the taxes perfectly and everything. And she wakes up at 4:00 in the morning, cooks him breakfast, lays out his clothes and blah, blah, so forth and so on. And then she makes him lunch, cooks him lunch, and he comes in and has lunch with her and they hug and they dance a little bit. And then he goes back to work. And then he comes at nighttime, leaves the office to come in. She's And then all day she does laundry, does a little bit of cleaning, does some sewing and knitting and what have you. And she lives as if it was the 1950s. And she is just completely happy. And she loves that man. It's here on YouTube somewhere. 1950s chick. There's a few women who do that. And they do stuff like, there's a black woman who does it. And she has, this is a typical such and so style 1950s dress, blah, 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 so and so. She even goes back to the 1800s. She's mainly sewing. But these women exist. Like I said, you find a wife. A woman who her life ambition is to be a wife. You have to go search for that one. You can't turn average Jane into a wife. You can't make a wife. You have to find one. Men or women, winning. Like I said, I know they asked for it, but they really didn't. They're just useful. I'm sorry to say. Thank you all for watching. Like and subscribe.